Welcome to our recorded discussion. So I am your professor, Rebecca R. Makiling. So now we will discuss about the overview of accounting information system as introductions. Okay, so these are the coverage from your syllabus. First is what is accounting information system, the system and the subsystem. So we will discuss that one. The uses of information, the qualities of information, and of course the decision making. And the third is the accountant's role in the current business environment. So here you are expected to demonstrate deep knowledge on the following: the nature and purpose of the accounting information system and its subsystem. Why do we need to study this course and why it's very important in our profession? Next, you are also expected to have deeper knowledge on the qualities of information, the uses of information, of course, for management decision making. And since you are accountant in the future, what are your role as an accountant in the current business environment? So what is accounting information system? So it is a system that collects, records, stores, and processes data to produce information for decision makers. Actually, this is the subsystem of the information system. So it processes financial and non-financial transactions. Of course, that will affect the processing of financial transactions directly. Any transactions that will affect on the financial statement itself. So example there is keeping customer file, and if there are changes on the customer name, the addresses that you need to process in the system, that is part of it. And then, although this is not technical financial in nature, but this is very important for future sales processing of the customer. Kaya nga, in AIS is more on financial and non-financial transaction, but that will affect really on the financial transactions directly on the FS. Again, accounting is the language of business. Thus, this AIS is the business intelligence, the information providing vehicle of that language. So either AIS is manual or AIS is computerized, but we will focus more on the computerized accounting information system. So a system is a term used to two or more interrelated components or subsystem that achieve a common goal. So majority of the system are composed of smaller subsystems that support the major extensive system. And each subsystem is designed to meet the purpose of the organization. So again, in the organization, we have the vision, mission, and goal. And then each subsystem is anchored to that VMG of the organizations. So the AIS could be a subsystem, or it could be, it's more on interrelated components. So for example, is the we have the enrollment system of our university. So the enrollment system of the university is composed of different components. We have the SAO, we have also the registrar, we have also the college, So we need those components just to achieve the goal of that enrollment system. So we call it goal congruence. So actually this is challenging to achieve, especially if the organization is larger and more complicated, since organization needs to collect different kinds of data. So based on the business activities, like the resources, the people involved in the event. So we have an example here is the sale activity. So business collect data. The data may be the date, the total amount, the goods or services, the quantity sold, the unit price, and the name of the customer or salesperson. So what is the difference of data and information? From previous subject, we know that data is raw fact, while information is an organized data, and information is used for decision making because it is processed for meaningful decision making. So through the information, users can make better decisions as to the quantity and the quality of information increase. However, there are limits to the amount of information the human mind can absorb and process. A reason why we need accounting information system, because this is capable of processing multiple or various data. Okay? So information is a valuable business resource since the contemporary business organization needs to survive. Other business resources of the organization are raw materials, capital, and labor. So these various information flow to decision makers and other users every business day just to meet the internal needs. Usually, information flows out from the organization to external parties like customers, suppliers, stakeholders who have interest on the firm. So there are cases that information will be overloaded. It will occur only when the limits are passed, resulting in the decline of decision-making quality. And of course, there is an increase on providing that information uh, for helping the decision maker to decide. So you need to analyze whether the value of information is greater than the benefits are greater than its cost in getting that information. All organization needs information in order to make effective decisions. So to make effective decisions, the organization must decide what decisions they need to make, what information they need to make the decisions, and how to gather and process the data. So it boils to the qualities of the useful information. There are several qualities or characteristics of good information. The first one is relevance or relevant. So relevant information reduces uncertainty, improves decision making because it confirms or corrects prior expectation. Then we have also reliability or reliable. Reliable information are free from errors or bias. They are accurately represents the organization events or activities. Another one is completeness or complete. Complete information does not omit important aspects of the events or activities it measures. So all the relevant information are there, which will help the decision maker decide. Then we have also timely or timeliness. Timely information provide no, enough time or exact time or timely time or um, yeah, it will help the decision makers to make decisions. So what is the use of good information, reliable information, relevant information, complete information, but they are not given on timely basis. So it will not help the decision makers. So most of the timely information are that's a reason why we use estimates, especially on managerial accounting. We use estimates for us to decide for future events. So especially when we are making budget, so there are estimates because we cannot get the exact information directly. Since it's for the future, it will be used for the future, so we can use estimate for decision making. And then we have also understandability or understandable. So the information is presented in useful and intelligible format that will help the decision. So it is the decision can understand how the information is presented. Then we have also verifiability or verifiable. So this information is verified by two independent or knowledgeable people which produces the same information. That's a reason why we need independent accountant, or independent auditor just to monitor whether the the information is really useful, so adding credibility, especially on the financial statements. And then the last, we have also accessibility. So this information are available to users when they need it and in a format they can use it. Okay, now how do we get the useful information? So a reason why we may use, no, the AIS, the Accounting Information System. An AIS, it could be a paper and pencil manual system, or a complex system which use the latest IT or combination IT, like Excel and also manual records. Okay, so though there are 6 components of the AIS. Uh, AIS, as what we discussed earlier, AIS must collect, enter, process, store, and uh, report data and information. So we have different components of the AIS. So the first one is the people, or we call it personnel. Okay, so that is the people who use the system. Okay, and then the second one is the procedures and instructions, which are used to collect, process, and store the data. The third component is the data, which is the business activities, the data that is captured by the AIS, no? In between the business activities like the sales process, the purchase process, finance, and etc. And then we have the fourth, which is the software used to process the data. Fifth is the information technology infrastructure, which include the computers, peripheral devices, and network communication devices used in the AIS. The last, which is very important, the internal control and security measures that safeguard our AIS data so that we can get a useful output, no, from our accounting information system. Okay, next. Okay. Since AIS is very important, no, in collecting useful data and process this to useful information for decision makers. So there are 3 important business functions of AIS. First, it collects, store data about organization activities, resources, and personnel. It transforms data into information so management can plan, execute, control, and evaluate activities, resources, and personnel. And it also provides adequate controls to safeguard the organization's asset and data. So remember these 3 important functions. So collect and store data, transform data into information, and provide adequate control. Okay, how an AIS can add value to the organization. So a well-designed AIS can add value to an organization by improving the quality and reducing the cost of products or services. For example, an AIS can monitor machinery so operators are notified immediately when performance fall outside acceptable quality limits. No? This will help maintain product quality, reduce waste, and lower the cost. Okay? Since the AIS can already monitor what is the required quantity, especially if it is manufacturing concern. No? There is already the economic order quantity or the EOQ. So the AIS can monitor the proper control or proper management of the inventories. So it also improves efficiency. For example, timely information makes a just-in-time manufacturing approach possible as it requires constant, accurate, up-to-date information about raw materials inventory and their location, thus improving the efficiency of your system. And then there is also sharing knowledge and expertise. It can improve operations and provide competitive advantage. No? We have an example here when CPA firm use information system to share best practices and there is support communication between offices. So the employees can search the corporate database to identify experts and to provide assistance for a particular clients. So fourth is improving the efficiency and effectiveness of the supply chain. So when we say supply chain, the purchasing process, or it could be the production process. So it's allow customers to directly access inventory and of course sales order entry system, which can reduce sales and marketing costs, thereby increasing customer retention rate. So that's efficiency and effectiveness. Fifth is improving the internal control structure. An AIS with a proper internal control structure can help protect system from fraud, errors, system failures, and disasters. The sixth, improving decision making, since decision making is very vital, very important. So the AIS can help this because they can create, or uh, they have this useful output, and because it process more data, and it helps the decision makers, in gathering sufficient data, or sufficient evidence, for decision making. Next, there are four basic transaction cycles. These four cycles interface with the general ledger and the reporting system, which relate all the activities, in the preparation of the financial statement and other managerial reports. So what are these four basic transactions? So we have the revenue cycle, the expenditure cycle, the human resource payroll cycle, and the financing cycle. The revenue cycle encompasses all transactions involving sales to customers and the collection of cash receipts for those sales, while the expenditure cycle encompasses all transactions involving the purchase and payment of merchandise sold by the organization or by a company, as well as other services it consumes, such as rent and utilities. And we have also the human resource, the payroll cycle. It encompasses all the transactions involving the hiring, training, and payment of employees. And the last, the four, is the financing cycle, which encompasses all transactions involving the investment of capital in the company, the borrowing of money, the payment of interest, and loan repayments. Okay, so we have here an example of the accounting information system of S&S. So this is already an integrated AIS, since all the transactions of the company is integrated under accounting information system. So we have the connection between the vendors, and then the investors, the creditors, the banks, the customers, the employees, the management, and the government agencies. So if you will see this, there are input and output. So the arrow going to the system are the inputs to that AIS, while the arrow outside or going out, that is the output. So you can see there is purchasing cycle, which start from the system going to the vendors, and then we have also the sales transaction cycle. Yes, this is the sales transaction, while this one is the purchase transaction. We have also the payroll, and then we have also the investing cycle. We have the creditors and the banks, and then we have the this is more on the managerial accounting, and we have also some reports for government agencies. So this is an integrated accounting information system. Okay. So what are the typical AIS? Now let's go to the details on how AIS help improve decision making in several ways. So we know in decision making, first is you need to identify the problem of the company, and then you need to collect and interpret information. So you collect the data, you collect the information from the AIS or from the outside parties, and then you need to evaluate. And then there is also solution. You choose what is the best solution, that is solution methodology, and of course choosing the alternative or from the solutions you can implement your solution. So AIS can identify situations which is required by management action. So from the data or from the information of AIS, they can already identify what are the strengths and what are the weaknesses. And of course, they can also look on the trend, no, especially on the trend on their profit and loss. So they can already identify whether they are profitable or they are not profitable. Okay? It can also reduce uncertainty and thereby provide a basis for choosing among alternative action. It can store information about the results of previous decisions, which provide valuable feedback that can be used to improve future decisions. It can also provide accurate information in a timely manner, and it can analyze sales data to discover items that are purchased together and can use such information to improve the layout of merchandise or to encourage additional sales of related items. So, see, AIS really help in improving decision making for the company. So since they can store multiple data from the AIS, you can already research or predict what particular outcome in the future. Okay. Next, this figure shows that uh, activities that is conceptualized in forming a value chain. So as we can see here, there are support activities and we have also primary activities. So when we say primary activities, these are directly providing value to customers, and then the support activity is just only getting indirectly, so it gives support to the primary activities. We will discuss this in the next slide. So I just i-introduce lang natin, no? We have the primary activities, the inbound logistics, the operation, the outbound logistics, the marketing and sales, and the service. And we have the support activities, the firm infrastructure, the human resources, technology, and purchasing. Okay. Again, AIS has a role in the value chain. So inbound logistics consists of receiving, storing, distributing the materials, and organization. It uses or it creates services and product itself. So for example here, an automobile manufacturer which receives, handles, and stores steel, glass, and rubber. And then we have also the operations which transform inputs into final products or services. So example, assembly line activities which convert raw materials into a finished car. And then we have also the outbound logistic. Activities distribute finished products or services to customer. An example is shipping automobile to car dealers. And we have the marketing and sales, which help customers buy the organization products or services, like advertising. This is an example of marketing and sales activity. And we have also service activity, which provide post-sale support to customer, like repair and maintenance services. This is the primary, directly providing customer value, so adding value to the customer. Next, support activities allow the 5 primary activities to be performed efficiently and effectively. There are 4 categories. We have the firm infrastructure. Infrastructure include the accounting, finance, legal, and general administration activities that allow an organization to function. So it is part of the firm infrastructure. We have also the human resources, which include the recruiting, the hiring, the training, and compensating employees. We have also the technology activities, which help improve a product or service. So example here is research and development, investment in IT, and product design. And we have also the purchasing activities, the procurement of raw materials, supplies, machineries, and the buildings used to carry out the primary activities. Okay, thank you for listening. So our reference here is Romney. We have also using Balsan and Hall. Okay.